Hey, welcome to day 42 of the course. You're doing great. Today we're going to learn something very important which I haven't seen in other online courses, and that is extending your programs. Because a program is like a living thing. It grows with time. In other words, you build a program, but then new ideas come, new requests from users, so then you might want to add more features to the program. And when that program is built in OOP style, that is a good thing because it's very easy to add more features to that program, to extend that program. So today what we're going to do is we're going to add a credit card feature to our hotel reservation program. So currently our program allows a user to book a hotel using the book method, and then the user gets a reservation ticket generated in the command line. So there is no payment layer in this app. Therefore, to satisfy our users and our clients' requests, we want to make this program able to check a credit card. In other words, we want to validate a credit card in our program. That will be a fake credit card, but the idea is the same. So with that in mind, I'll see you in the next video. Let's begin. Hey, welcome back. In this video, you'll learn how to add new classes to existing programs without breaking the program. So let's simulate a situation. The client whom we built this app for is complaining that customers are booking a hotel and then they are not showing up. So the client now is asking that we should add a feature to the program which asks the customers to enter their credit card details and pay the booking when they do the booking through the app. So as a programmer, now we need to extend the program to satisfy that new requirement of the clients. So we need to add a new feature, a new credit card feature. And when your program is in OOP, meaning that it's organized in classes, then all you need to do is add a new class without breaking the existing classes. And that is actually one of the principles of OOP. You shouldn't change the existing classes. Just try to add new ones. So we can start the logic by looking at the program main loop here. So we print out the list of hotels here, and then we get the ID of the hotel the user wants to book. So just to refresh your memory. So the users see these and they enter something like 188 for this row. So they want to book that, but then, let me stop this. Then we check if the hotel is available, and then we let the user book the hotel. But now, before we let the user book the hotel, we first want to tell the user, first let's create a credit card instance using a class which we're gonna have to create in here. So let's start to create a class credit card. Let's pass for now. So in that credit card class, the user will enter some data, or perhaps we need to ask the user first, like, card number. We can ask the user through an input function. If this was a web app, then we would show the user some text boxes where they can enter the credit card number and the expiration date of the credit card number, the name on the credit card, and also the CVC number, which is like a 3-digit number in Visa and MasterCards. So these are the data that the app would need to validate that credit card. So we can ask the user for these three, like, enter the credit card number, and then another one would be expiration date. We could ask again for input, but I would want to just assume that we got these from the user. For example, we got the number as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cards have something like 16 digits, card numbers. So let's assume that the user entered this number So that's 10 digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 16 digits. So the expiration date would be 12/26, so December 2026, that's a year. And then the holder, the name of the holder, let's say John Smith, and then finally the CVC number, which is a 3-digit number, let's say 123. So let's suppose that we got these from the users using input functions, and then those variables, we pass them in here. So we're skipping the input function step, just for simplicity. So once you have created a credit card instance, then you want to say if credit card dot validate, then you want to book the hotel if this basically is equal to true. So that would be a similar method like this. So return true if we find that in this cards.csv file, which you can find attached in the lecture resources, if we find that that card that the user entered here with this data, if that card is an existing record in this database, which is just a CSV file for now, but in real life this would be some remote databases where your program has access to through an API, and the program can check if a card exists in that database. In this example, we want to keep things simple and have those data in a CSV file. So if we validate the credit card instance, this credit card instance, then we book the hotel. And then we ask the user for their name. Then we create a reservation ticket. We print out the reservation ticket. And yeah, we leave this as it is. So this else block here is part of this. So if the hotel is available, this will happen, right? Otherwise, if we are stopped at this point, if the hotel is not available, which is the case when this here is no, the availability, the available field. In that case, we print out the hotel is not free. If you like here, you can add an else statement which belongs to this group, if else, right? Else print there was a problem with your payment. So if for some reason we couldn't validate the credit card, we show the user this message so they know that there's something wrong with their credit card. So with that, we can go up to the credit card class here, and we start to add methods to this credit card class. The first method is underscore underscore init underscore underscore self. Now the question is, the big question always is, what parameters should init take? The way we instantiated credit cards here suggests that this should take these 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters, right? So number, expiration, holder, and CVC number. However, this is debatable because some of these parameters, you can also have them in the other method validate, right? So perhaps you could have only the number there and these 3 in here. And then in here, you only provide the number when you create an instance of the credit card, and you move these 3 to the validate method because they are now part of the validate method, right? Remove this comma as well. So the big question is, what is better? Is it the first version where we had all the parameters in here, or is it this version better? Well, to answer this question, you should think of what is the minimum set of parameters you need when you instantiate, when you create an instance of a credit card. So can a credit card be defined using only its number? Well, the answer is yes, it can be defined, but it cannot be validated, right? Because to validate a card, to make a payment, you need all these data: expiration, date, the holder, and the CVC. So it does make sense to have only the number here and have all these other parameters part of the validate method. So think of this like, oh, this is like the username of this object, and these are like the passwords. So I think it does make sense to have it like this, although some programmers would think otherwise, so there's no concrete way, a definite technique to do this. So let's keep it like this, and I'll do self number is equal to number. I did this because we're gonna need the number in this method, right? So we need to access that number, and the way to access it is by assigning number as an attribute of the instance. So now we can access that as self.number, right? So how do we validate the credit card? Well, first of all, you need to load the data frame out of this CSV file. So let's do that. We can do that outside here. So you can say df for cards is equal to pandas.read CSV cards.csv, that's the name of that file. I'll do dtype is equal to str. So I want to load all the fields as strings because none of them has any mathematical meaning, right? So this is a number, but it's just an ID. This is also just an expiration date, which can be treated as a string. The CVC field doesn't also have any mathematical meaning. We're not doing mathematical operations. So it's fine to load all these as strings. Now, I would like to load this data frame actually as a dictionary. Why? Well, I'll explain you why. So let me import pandas in a Python console to show you how this dictionary will look like. Import pandas, df cards. Df cards looks like this. So a dictionary, a list of dictionaries, and each dictionary represents one row of the cards data. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That row that I selected here reflects that dictionary here. I did convert the data frame into a dictionary because it's easier to check if all these data are part of that list of dictionaries, right? You'll see how it works exactly. So the idea is that now I can make a dictionary with the data, which should look like this. Let's say we have the number first, right? As a string number, which is self.number. And then we have expiration. So that's the key. The value would be expiration, the variable, this parameter, which comes directly in the validate method. Holder CVC. Let me split this because it's too long, just for readability and following the PEP8 style guide. So once I have these data as a dictionary, so I get the data from the user, right? I get the number in here, I get the expiration, holder, and CVC in here, and then these are transported to here, and then we create a dictionary, and then we say if card data in df cards, so that data frame. Actually, it's not a data frame, as you see, it's a list of dictionaries. So we're checking if that dictionary is one of those dictionaries in the df cards list. Return true. Right? And you can say else, return false, although it will work even if you don't do that, because this will return none by default. So same goes with this available method of the hotel class, but if you want to be explicit and make the code more readable, you can do the return false. So some people prefer this method of doing things more explicit. So that means that this validate method in here will return true. And that means this will be evaluated to true, and that means that we book the hotel and so on. So yeah, that's it. Let's run the program. So run it. Now all these hotels are currently not available, so if we do a 188, we're gonna get hotel is not free as expected. So this was executed, this line. Now let's go to hotels.csv, change the second one, Snow Palace in New Delhi, to yes. They do have some availability currently because it's not snowing in Delhi, so they don't have lots of customers. Usually it snows there. And anyway, it's run and enter the ID. So we set Snow Palace, which is yes. Now 188, press enter. There was a problem with your payment. So something is not going as smoothly. That's because the number here doesn't reflect the number there. So let me just edit the number of the card here, place that there, try again. So Snow Palace is still available. So 188, enter. Oh, enter your name. Now we're being asked for our name, Ardit, and yeah. Thank you for your reservation. Here are your booking data, Ardit's hotel name, and so on. So now our card was validated and we successfully booked the hotel. Of course, you can have this database more complex, so you could add like a balance here and then have how much money each of these cards have, right? And then you could extend the class credit card by adding another method here, like define pay, and then this pay method would modify this data frame, right, and subtract the payment, the price of the hotel, if the hotel had a price, which also is not the case because our hotel's database was also simple. But you get the idea, so you can add more methods to a class when you want to extend a class. So it's better to add a method here than to modify these validate methods. So each method should be responsible for one and one thing only. So this method validates the card and that's its duty. The other method would pay, which means subtract something from that hotel, right, and so on. Anyway, I don't want to go into the rabbit hole with so many details. I want to keep the focus on OOP. So that's the cards, and yeah, that's how you can extend an existing program. So you add a new class and then you modify the main loop where you create instances of the classes and where the logic of how the program will run is. So I hope this is helpful for you to understand classes even better. And yeah, we have some more videos today, so I'll see you in the next one. Hey, welcome back. In this video, you're going to learn what inheritance is and how to use it in your programs. So previously, in the previous video, we added this credit card feature. So now we check if the credit card is validated, and then we let the user book the hotel. Now, sometimes though, some credit cards have another security layer. So it's not enough to enter the credit card number and the expiration date, the holder name and the CVC. But you also need to provide some sort of passwords and sometimes even a username and a password through an additional web page. However, our program doesn't support those credit cards yet. So what should we do then? Should we modify the class credit card? So maybe add some more methods here or modify the validate method Well, the answer is no, because when you want to add some new features, like we're doing now, we're adding this new secure credit card feature. When you want to add more features, you don't want to modify existing classes. So this is one of the principles of OOP. What you want to do instead is add more classes. Of course, it's fine to add methods to a class when you are coding that class. So it was fine to add a define pay method in the previous video if we wanted to do this in a more real life situation. But once you have completed the class, once you have completed the feature, and then you want to add more features, then it's good to create new classes. And that's what we're going to do now. Class secure credit card, right? Now the thing is that this secure credit card would be checked for that username and passwords, which for them we have created this CSV file. You can find it attached in the lecture resources. So we have the cards.csv file, which we covered in the previous video, and then we have this additional CSV data. So in here we have like the card numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it's this number. So that's the number of the card, and that is the password of that card, basically. So the user will have to enter the password of their card in the program, and then we'll check against these data. So to check against those data means we need a method that checks the password, but we also need to validate the expiration, holder, and CVC values as well. So what we're talking about here is basically having the same class credit card but with some extended capabilities. And this extended capability is the capability to check if the password is correct. So in that case, we don't want to write that class again, like init, and then have define validate, and then have another define authenticate maybe. We don't want to rewrite these methods. What we do instead is we inherit that credit card class from this class. To inherit a class, when you define the class in the first line, you use some parentheses, and then there you enter the credit card class, the name of the class you want to inherit. And now this secure credit card class is known as the child, and this is known as a parent class. So the parent and the child. So the child is inheriting all these methods from the parents. But the child will be more advanced than the parent, because the child will have this authenticate method in addition. You'll see exactly what I mean when I say the child has inherited these methods. So first, let me implement the authenticate method. So this again would need access to that card.security.csv file. So for that we say df here on top cards security is equal to pandas.read csv cards underscore security.csv, and let's load the types as str. And then we go down here in authenticate, and we want to get the passwords from the df cards security variable, which is a data frame, .lock. So we get df number, which should be equal to self.number. I'll explain you what self.number is doing here. So self.number, and then we extract the password, right? Password is this field. So we have a number column and a password column as well, 2 columns. So that is a number column, that is a password column. So we're saying, oh, give me the password value where the value of this number column is equal to that. Now, what is that? Well, that is this here. So basically, as I told you, this child class inherits everything from this class. And that is the first example of inheriting. And you'll see that this class also inherits the methods. So not only the instance variables, such as this self.number, but also the methods. And let's add squeeze here to get the actual value for the password and not just a series. Then we say if password is equal to given password, which is going to be a parameter of the authenticate method. Given password, return true. Sorry, this has to be an equal comparison operator. Else return false. Although you can omit this and it will still work. So then we can go down here, and instead of using the credit card class, we use the secure credit card class, right? So now credit card, this variable holds an instance of secure credit card, and this secure credit card takes the number as an argument. Although we don't have an init method here which gets a number as an argument, we do have an init method in the parent class. And since this secure credit card class inherits everything from the credit card class, that means it also inherits the init method, so we can provide all the parameters that the init method takes in the credit card class, right? And then the validate method also can be applied to this secure credit card instance, right? Which is represented by this variable. So the validate method is also inherited, therefore we can pass the method and all its arguments. So everything else remains the same. And of course we also need to add the authenticate method call here. So first we validate the card and then we add another conditional layer. If credit card dot authenticate, and then we enter the passwords. Actually it's given passwords, that's the name of the parameter. So that is equal to the password, which you can get it from the user using like a variable here with an input function, or if you want to keep it simple, you can just provide the passwords, which is here my pass. So write my pass here as a string. And then if that returns true, which is the case when the password is equal to the given password, then we want to book the hotel, ask the user for their name, create a reservation ticket instance, print out the reservation ticket, and perhaps add a new else statement here, else print credit card authentication failed. So that else statement is part of this if conditional block, and this one here belongs to that. So be careful with the indentation level, right? And that is paired with that. So we can run the program now. Run main. Perhaps an error. Yep. Directory card security not found. So I had a typo here, card security.csv. It's not cards, it's card security. So let's run again. Enter the ID of the hotel. Now all the hotels have no availability, so we're gonna get hotel is not free. So let's change one of these to yes, save the hotels.csv file, run again. 188. Another error. Let's see what this is telling us. So look at the line which is pointing to your file, not to the other files in our other modules. So that's our main.py file. I click there, it takes me here, and this is complaining that number was not found in the data frame. So a key error is part of Pandas data frames errors. So we take a look at the card security CSV file. Now here I can see that the column number is actually called number. So that should be some other issue here. What I can see is that I didn't use df's card security here, but I used df. So df should be replaced to df's card security. Yeah, run again. 188, this hotel, press enter, enter your name, Ardit, and yeah, we've got the reservation ticket. If this given password here was not my pass but something else like my pass1, and we run again the code, so let's change this back to yes, run main 188, and we're gonna get credit card authentication failed. So the data we have entered in here, which is a password, gave us this problem. So that's what we expected, to have this error, so that is working fine. And yeah, that is about inheritance. So inheritance is when you create a new class which inherits from an existing class. So the new class will have additional methods. So those additional methods are defined in the new class. But you don't need to define the existing methods of the parent class. You just call them, just like we did here. Validate. And you also can use the variables that are passed to the class instance. So number was part of the credit cards class, but it is also part of secure credit card. And that's about inheritance. So thanks a lot for following, and I'll see you later. Hey, welcome back. In the previous video you learned that you could create a class which would inherit the methods of another class. For example, our secure credit card class was able to inherit the validate method class. In other words, when we create an instance using secure credit card, that instance has access to the validate method, which was defined in the credit card class. So this method was called in here. Now sometimes that method that you are inheriting might not be enough. You might want to change something from that method. In that case, what you want to do in the child class is you want to override that method. So let's take an example in the Python console. I'll not be modifying the code for this. I just want to show you the concept in this video, the concept behind overwriting a method. So let's take a ticket class, right? It has an init method. Let's just pass here to keep it simple. And then this ticket method has this generate method, right? Which returns something like, hello, this is your ticket. So I'm not including any parameters here. I just want to make a point about inheritance. So that is the ticket class, right? Now, if you want to create a class which inherits from that class, let's say digital ticket. So we would supply ticket here. And then perhaps you want to add more methods, such as define download. They can download a ticket. You'd have some codes here and so on. And then perhaps you might want to override that method because you might want to return something else instead of that strings, right? In that case, all you have to do is define the method again. So the method name should be exactly the same as in the parent class. Generate, and then return something else. Like, hi, this is your ticket. So now this string is different from that, right? So let's execute this class. Let's instantiate digital ticket. It doesn't take any arguments, right? Because the init method doesn't take any other parameters other than self. So that is the method. Now dt.generate will of course output, hi, this is your ticket. So it outputs this string instead of that. So you can override a method of the parent class by defining that method in the child class. Of course, if we say t is equal to ticket, which is the parent class, t.generate, of course, it returns, hello, this is your ticket. So that is a string of the ticket class, because when you inherit from a class, you do not modify the parent class, you only modify the child class. And that's the concept I wanted to talk about in this video. So thanks a lot and see you in the next one. Welcome. In this video, I'll give you the task for today's project. The task will consist of extending the hotel reservation app we've been working on today. The finished code should make the program behave like this. So let me demonstrate you the finished version of the program. Again, the program, as before, should output the data frame first, showing the list of hotels. Then, as before, also here you can enter the ID of the hotel, like 188 for this particular hotel. Press enter. Enter your name as before, so no changes so far. Press enter, we get the booking ticket, the reservation ticket printed out. But then the change this time for your task is that you want to ask the users if they want to book a spa package, right? So now we're talking about spa hotels. This far we only had hotel classes, right? But let me talk about that in a minute. So here the user can enter yes or no. If they enter yes, this will be printed out. So that's a new spa reservation ticket, right? Thank you for your spa reservation. Here your spa booking data are added, which is the same name as before. Hotel name is the same hotel that we have booked in the first step here, right? So that's the new feature. The new feature, as you can see, allows users to book a package from a spa hotel. So as you can imagine, your duty is to add a new class. So far we had a hotel class which represents any hotel instance, but now we have this more specific class, spa hotel, which is a hotel, but it does have perhaps a new method, which should be something like book spa package. And in that method, you can just write a pass statement, so you don't really need to implement that method. So that's one point of your task, creating this spa hotel class, which inherits from hotel. The second task is to create a new class. Maybe name that spa ticket or spa reservation ticket, but be careful here. This class shouldn't really inherit from the reservation ticket class. That's because a spa reservation is not a hotel reservation, right? So you should always ask this question when you want to decide if you want to inherit or not. Is the child the parent? In this case, it is not, because the reservation ticket class, which we already have in the code, is designed for hotels, not for spa bookings. So sometimes you have to create new classes from scratch and rewrite perhaps a generate method for your new spa ticket class. And then in the program main loop, you need to update your classes. So instead of creating hotel instances, you want to create spa hotel instances. And then you also want to add this question, after you generate the hotel ticket, you want to ask the user if they want to enter yes. If yes, then perhaps instantiate the new SPA ticket class. So that's the idea. I hope you get it right, and I'll give you the solution in the next video. Thanks. Hello again. In this video, I'll show you my solution to the SPA hotel booking program. To show you what I added, what I'll do is I'll select the original program we have been building today and the program which I extended. So main is a program I extended and main original is the program we've been working on in the previous videos. And I'll go to compare files. And so here on the left, you see my changes are highlighted. So up to here, we don't have any change. The two programs are the same. But then I added this SPA hotel class, which inherits from the hotel class. So that's one addition. We go down, the credit card classes are the same, secure credit card is also the same. Then I added a SPA ticket class, which looks like this. A SPA ticket class is very similar to the reservation ticket class, which we have up here. However, the generate method is different, so it does have different content. And then in here, I changed from hotel to SPA hotel. So now I'm using SPA hotel instances. And then down here, once we print the reservation ticket using the generate method, so this is a hotel reservation ticket, then I ask the customers if they want to book a SPA package using an input function. And then if the answer is yes, I book that package using the book SPA package method of the SPA hotel instance. So that's the instance we created in here, SPA hotel, which does have this book SPA package method. And then I instantiate SPA ticket in here using customer name, the name which the customer gave up here when we ask them. So here, and the hotel object is the same SPA hotel instance. And then I call the SPA ticket generate method, and that will print out the method on the command line. And that's all the changes I added to my program. Now, perhaps your version is different. It's a good idea that you add child classes just after the parent classes. So hotel class is here, SPA hotel class is there, instead of adding SPA hotel at the end here. So this makes more sense. And yeah, that's it. And thanks a lot. See you.